Hello, Kerbonauts, and welcome to my Reddit challenge series where we try to meet the weekly challenge as listed on the Kerbal Space Program subreddit. This week's challenge is second KSC. So there's another Kerbal Space Center. This is the main Kerbal Space Center that we're at right now, but supposedly there's a second one somewhere on Kerbin. We're going to try and find it. I've put a link to the challenge in the description so you can go read all the rules and how other people have done. So we've got our standard lifter from the last challenge, same here. And I've just modified the probe just a tiny bit. I took the docking port off the top and went ahead and put just a parachute up there for now. Couldn't get any of the other parachutes to attach, so it kind of looks like it's just wearing a little hat, but that's okay. So we're going to call this Challenge 3. And really all I want to do here is just get on a north trajectory here. So as long as I'm flying over the planet, not like our probe here, here's the one from the last challenge, it's still orbiting. We'll just let them orbit forever. But I want to take off straight north and then just kind of circle over the poles and come back. And the important part is that when we're looking at the sun, I want to take off at exactly noon from Kerbin. So because what that'll do is it'll put me right in the middle of this sunny spot here, and what they'll do for me is I'll be able to get the most daylight as I possibly can on one side of the planet here. Now I could just kind of skirt the this would be the morning or the afternoon. This is the morning side. But I want to fly right in the middle of the day here because that'll help me out quite a bit. Give some good light on me. Half the planet will be dark for my orbits, but that's all right. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this thing in a north orbit, and we'll see you soon. All right. So here we are in a north orbit, and every time I go around the planet, it's rotating underneath me. You can see it here because we're in warp. See if I can zoom in. See how it's rotating underneath me? And every time we do an orbit, I see a little bit more of the planet every single time. So right now, I'm at about 75,000 meters. I'm staying just above where I need to be to stay in orbit. So I'm as low as I possibly can be. What we're going to do is we're just going to kind of look around as we see up here. And what I'm looking for are light spots like the KSC is. That's my best guess as to what we're looking for here. So as we go by, just kind of look around. Don't really see anything too man-made. It's kind of hard to see, but... And then when we get up to some ocean or something like that, I just fast forward. Check out that island. Nah. No. I'll just kind of do a 5x warp here, and as I fly around, I'm just looking for anything that looks man-made, a runway, grass that looks different. And I mean a lighter color of like a very obvious square of light grass is what I'm looking for, because that's what the KSC is, so I'm guessing it's the same. Alright, so we'll do this for a while, and then when I get up to the poles here, eventually we get to the point to where it gets dark, so there's no reason for me to look anymore. And this is the thing I like about flying around over the poles, is it switches the camera for me as we go through. So we just fast forward through the dark part, and I'll see this part of the plane eventually when it rotates underneath me, but kind of get back into what I'm looking for, and there we are. And I can scroll out away from the spacecraft. It makes it smaller. It doesn't really affect the size of the ground underneath it, so it gives me a good look. And I just look around. Alright. I have seen pictures of people landed at KSC, and I know it's on grass. So, I'm looking for that. Alright, we'll do this for a while and see what happens. Alright, so I don't know how many orbits I've done. 30, 40. I got really excited when I saw this, but that's where I took off from. That's the first KSC. So check the map real quick, and first thing I saw was this actually, and I think that's the runway and some of the man-made stuff that's out on that island outside of KSC. And there's KSC itself. I have not seen anything like that. It's not this light dirt color like coastline. It's just a big patch of grassy light green. There's just nothing. So keep doing it, and we'll see if we can't find anything. But this is turning out to be a horrible challenge. I don't know who thought this one up, or how you're supposed to find this in vanilla. I mean, I really don't. Since I'm seeing the original KSC, I've obviously seen the entire planet at this point, and I'm in as low orbit as possible, so I'm coming over the surface as quickly as I can. So it's not like I'm missing huge amounts of space between orbits. Like my last orbit, I crossed just to the right of these mountains here. So I can see halfway between, right about there would be halfway between my orbits so far, and I can see it pretty well. I mean, I saw the runway off of KSC very well. I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna have to see what happens. I'll keep doing it, but we'll find it. Well, there it is. Can you see it? Yeah, I couldn't either. So after about 2 hours of orbiting and just kind of looking back and forth and looking for the second KSC, you can't see it from orbit. It's right here. It's got a little, I already planted a flag, but it's got a little bit of a line in the terrain. Impossible to see from orbit. I don't know, playing vanilla, how you're supposed to see it. I eventually had to just, after 2 hours of orbiting, I don't even know how many orbits I did. I had to go out and look on the wiki where it was, and then I grabbed a space plane and just flew over here to try and figure out what was going on. Because you can see, you can get pretty close. That's it. Little satellite dish, a launch pad, substance, a water tower sitting out there. There's a tower. I was taxiing around out here and going up and down these hills. I got a little airborne and broke one of my engines off. So I tried to pull over by the tower and ended up hitting it. But he's okay. So that's it for this one. I have no idea how I would have done that in vanilla. Like I said, I orbited for probably 2 hours and just looked and looked and couldn't see a thing. Eventually I could barely even see my screen anymore. But so that's the second KSP. Alright, so if you don't want a spoiler and you want to try and find the second KSC on your own, go ahead and stop watching now. I'll give you a second to stop. Alright, so I planted a flag on the second KSC there. We'll zoom in. Here's our African continent here. There's KSC. And the second KSC is over this desert. There's 3 groups of mountains here. It's in the middle one underneath these rivers. And it's right in this little ditch here. right in the mountainside. Alright, have a good one, and if you like this series, please give it a like, give it a subscribe, or just write a comment. That lets me know that you like what I'm doing and that I should keep doing it. And I'll see you next time on the Reddit Challenge series. Bye-bye.